What up, what up, what up, what up, good people? Sorry, I had a full-on camera just malfunction right before we were about to get on the air. But what's going on, good folks? Happy to be here. It is your favorite Monday night bi-weekly sports talk show, and that is Dr. Oui E Talk Sports. I, of course, am the E of this pairing, and you are here, and you're coming, and we're going to make you smarter. Today, we've got a great show. We're going to be talking mainly NFL, some of the teams that are starting to separate. Some of the bad teams are really realizing that they're bad, and we're starting to see that as the play on the field. Dak Prescott even said on the sideline, we effing suck. So, yes, and they do. So we'll talk about some of that. And then we're going to talk about FAMU and FAMU homecoming. That was just this past weekend, and what I like to call post-homecoming sadness disorder that we all have to kind of work our way through to get back to normal life with regards to, after you've been seeing your friends for like 4 days, reminiscing the old times, maybe seeing an old, extra special friend or two, it becomes, it's nostalgic and sad also at the same time, because that there might be another year before you get a chance to see them again in person. And as Eric Butler pointed out, it was a sobering thought, but it's real. Somebody may not make it to next year. And so I hope everybody gave everybody their flowers when they were there. I try to make it a point of doing that. And I tell you, telling another grown man that you love him is uncomfortable. But you can, as long as you exercise it and you do it over and over again, it becomes easier to do. And like I said, give people their flowers while they're here versus tell them how much you love them after they can't hear you, because they don't. So I'm sure you've had some losses this year. I've seen on this past year over social media. So make sure you do that. We're going to talk about homecoming. We'll talk a little bit about the game. Or lack thereof. I mean, it was pretty one-sided for FAMU, but yeah, we'll get into all of that tonight here over the next time. So over the next hour. So if you're just joining us, drop your information there in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. Put your questions in. Put your comments. If you've got post-homecoming sadness disorder, please drop that in. How long does it take for you to get back to normal life? We'd like to hear all of that, and we'll talk about that a little later on the show. But let's start with our two favorite teams, the Eagles and the Falcons. Both teams won. Ironically, both teams won with the same kind of point differential. I think it was 5 for the Eagles and for the 6 for the Falcons. Both teams looked well. The Falcons were outgained by the Cowboys.
But it was toward the end of the game. That's what he does anyway.
Like we talked about on this show before, it was a lot of empty calories there, because at one point I think it was like 21-10, and I mean the game was never in doubt. I mean, you got the 14-3 at one point. It was like the game itself was never in doubt, but and that's where I think the Cowboys have been fool's gold for the past several years, in the fact that they get those empty calorie yards, and empty calorie points too, when they were winning the points titles. I'm like, bruh, that's not sustainable.
No.
The Eagles won and had probably the play of the year happen during the game. That's probably that's probably the most athletic thing I've ever seen done in a live football game.
It was amazing.
That's not a normal activity, because
no, not a backward hurdle. And it was a high hurdle. It wasn't just like
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I was like, and the fact that you were able to do it at full speed, time that up perfectly.
He knew the other guy was coming at him, so he's like, I just had, because he was talking to Shady, I guess, after it happened. He was like, I knew the guy was coming for me, so I just jumped over. Like, okay, all right.
That's a bit simple. Like that, it wasn't that simple because you had just come off of, you shook the first dude, then you did a spin move on the second dude, and as you're coming out of that spin move, you catch this dude coming and decide to jump over him backwards. Like, yeah, that is. I mean, we've seen speed, we've seen power, like with Derrick Henry run. We've seen that. We've seen the beast quake when Marshawn Lynch did that wonderful run, and that's still probably one of the best runs I've ever seen in a pro football game. But I've never seen, and we've seen people get hurdled before, but that's always been fun.
That was a high hurdle. That was a high hurdle. It wasn't even. I've seen people jump over people, but not just standing straight up. I mean, you know, usually when they're trying to tackle you, you know, you may jump over them and run.
That was crazy. That is yeah. And what made it even more spectacular is this weekend's slate of games. We've already had some spectacular catches. We had the Jets catch, which was the king of the weekend until we got to Sunday.
Yeah.
Then we had even your own game in the back of the end zone. What's your receiver? Number 6.
Smith.
Devontae. Yeah. Beautiful catch. Back in the end zone, one hand, it gets his feet down.
Yeah.
We had the catch, a one-handed catch that the Rams won on their game, right? So we had some fantastic plays just in this one weekend alone, but nothing. A man hurdling somebody backwards. So I think the challenge for the Eagles, because I watched the game, is coaching. Going for 2 at random times, it doesn't make any sense.
3 times in a row. And the one play where the 1 point was on the board, and because he got the penalty, he was like, might as well go for 2 points. And that's 3 points right there.
He doesn't seem to have it feels random. And maybe that's from an outside perspective, from football perspective.
I don't think he sees it random. He sees it as, just from listening to his press conference, he sees it as being aggressive, and when it works out. So I don't mind him going, for it on 4th and 1. But the 2 points every time, I don't see the point. Usually most people go for 2 points when they're trying to make, 1 score, 2 score.
Especially when you're going against an opponent that is really trying to make their vacation plans early. Okay. Jacksonville this season has been a wash.
It has.
And when you get up, what were we up 17-0 at one point, 22-0 at one point? Mm-hmm. You had full control of this game, but you do stuff like that. It seems like it confuses your players, and Jacksonville got back into it. And with the
momentum, that fumble that wasn't a fumble with Saquon.
That was the most curious fumble ever. But when you let teams hang around, and then if Trevor Lawrence doesn't try to press,
he's not a bomb. He has some good throws every now and then. It's just that he's not consistent. And most of the games they've lost, which most NFL games have been the 1 or 2 score games. It's not like they get blown out all the time.
But yeah, they should have been blown out. And
like we should have. I agree. And if we would have got those 3 points and the field goal, not the 57, field goal, field goal within range,
They passed up 2 40-yard field goals.
I mean, I
go for it on 4th down,
4th and 3,
and then you try to kick a 57-yard field goal to give him better field position. It was a lot of strange maneuverings that doesn't give me a lot of confidence of they're going to make the playoffs. But
I don't have confidence either, because he has a better coach, and if Trevor Lawrence would have actually made a better throw, and our defense Dean didn't catch that ball, we could have lost, and he would have been fired Tuesday. Well, at least that The city of Philadelphia would have been calling for him to be fired by Tuesday. If we would have lost that game,
Yes. Yes. And it was really a bad decision by Trevor Lawrence that saved his job, because on the play prior to the interception, they ran that play with a running back on Roquan Smith, and that's how they got they got a big gain on it. He went right back to it. The running back cut the route off. So if he throws that ball short, it's a touchdown. But he threw it deep over his head, gets caught. We know what happened. Interception is over with. But if he throws that ball short to that pylon and that running back catches it, it's going to be some consequences and repercussions with regards to Nick Sirianni have to answer some questions how you lose a game when you go up 22-0 at one point.
I know. So, to Jacksonville. I mean, I know they're an NFL team, but Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
There's a reason they flexed the game from. It was supposed to have been a Sunday night game. They flexed it to the 3:00 time slot,
which tells you how bad Jacksonville is.
Yeah.
Okay, they're like that works Sunday night. Let's go flex this out. So, talking about my Falcons, I think we did enough. Dallas, they rolled over real quick. We kept them in it with the bad 3 and out at the beginning of the game, and then some curious calls.
That's fake. I mean, I don't know what Dallas is doing. What was up with that fake punt? And
they're grasping at straws. They are a bad football team that are, and a coach knows he is that seat's getting hotter underneath him, because the person that is to blame for all of this will never accept it. That's Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is the reason why the Cowboys are losing. Point blank, period. He is. He swears up and down.
Yeah.
He swears up and down. He put together a good team. No, they're terrible.
He did, but he didn't. You got to replenish. You ain't like you have a good team forever. You got to replenish. You got to replace players. Trade. You can't just draft folks and think they're just gonna last forever.
You had an opportunity to get
pay them early instead of putting all your cap into 2 players.
Exactly. 2 players are going to take like 40-something% of your cap next year. 2 players. Now, both of them had MRIs today, and one of them's going to be out for several weeks. I didn't get the update on CeeDee Lamb, but I know Dak is I think Dak's going to be out for the next couple weeks. So now you got Cooper Rush.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a defense because your best defensive players. I think they put him on IR, so he had to be out for a minimum 4 games.
So he's been out, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been out. So he may have either 1 game left, so he might, if he's ready. But yeah, they put him on IR, so that showed you how significant that injury was.
And didn't even play, so it had something to do with him and missing a meeting or something I heard today.
Oh, you talking about the running back?
Which is crazy anyway.
Basically
they don't have a running back, but he didn't even play, and it had nothing to do with health or anything.
You're right. They don't have a running back, which is why you're trying to, on 4th and 1, you're trying to run a jet sweep to your wide receiver. And you try to have your punter throw a pass. It was silly to watch. You've got essentially 3 players, and 2 of them are now hurt, and that's Micah Parsons and Dak. Now you've got a receiver,
but Cooper's not that bad for a backup. But
why would you bring back Ezekiel Elliott, who has no more tread left on that tire, when you could have had Derrick Henry for $6 to $8 million?
I had Saquon too. Actually, somebody was talking about today. I'm like, I don't know if he would have wanted to go, but I mean, there are 2 running backs who are like ranking up all these numbers. They're talking about like the MVP stats, and they could have had Henry because he actually the house
because Jerry Jones thinks he's the smartest man in the room. And the players that he drafted are better than the players that somebody else drafted. So somebody else drafted Saquon. Somebody else drafted Derrick Henry. He drafted Ezekiel.
They could have kept Pollard and would have did better.
Yeah, why would you let Pollard go? Pollard's tearing it up in Tennessee now? He's having a better season than all of the Dallas running backs combined. You want to pay Pollard because you knew you had to pay Dak and CD, but if you'd have paid them earlier, you could have structured that contract to where you could have had more
He
players.
probably would have he might have took a little discount since he lives there, and they don't have a state income tax.
I'm like, Turpin is an XFL guy that's getting, and now, but you're trying to increase his role because you got banged up wide receivers. So he's a punt returner XFL guy that's now having to try to play, starter-like minutes.
Yeah, they let Cooper go. They should have kept him. They would have had at least one more wide receiver.
They let Amari Cooper go for a bag of magic beans, and now look, he just got. They gave him away for like a 5th or 6th round pick, and then Buffalo gave a 3rd round pick to get him. So what does that tell you? Somebody else valued him more than you did, and so that's the. But again, Jerry Jones has this thing. He thinks the players that he drafts are better than other people's players, and since he didn't draft Amari Cooper, he never got around him. Even though Amari Cooper, everybody talks about him being a professional.
And his route running, people talk about
route running, great hands, great player in the locker room, no trouble off the field. But since he wasn't one of your guys, you don't really, you buy into your guys, and they know that, and everybody knows that you drafted, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna hit you over the head, and everybody that he's drafted has gotten the bag from him, and whether they're great or not, because Dak Prescott is a middle of the road quarterback. He can't.
But I think it was the market. Like Trevor Lawrence don't deserve what he's getting paid.
Nope. But now you got a $6 million quarterback that can't win anymore because you let your offensive line get dissipated. You didn't replace your offensive line.
He's always trying to press, and then he throws these picks.
Yeah, it's a lot. So, I think other teams that had. I think there's there's 7 teams that only have 2 wins right now.
What? Panthers.
That's
although the Saints.
Saints, yeah. Miami.
Jaguars. Don't they have
Jaguars.
2? The Jets we have 3 now, but
I think the Jets may have 4.
But I thought they were 2. Maybe it was 3. And then they just won Thursday, and I was surprised.
Y'all help us out with that. Let me look that up real quick.
Let me see. I think the Jets. Are they 3 or 4?
Oh, they're 3. Okay.
I thought they were 2 before Thursday.
Yeah, they were 2 before Thursday. Then they got that improbable win. I think the Texans are struggling. Too many injuries right now. That happens.
Yeah.
Wide receiver, they just lost Stephon Diggs for the year with the torn ACL. Their other wide receiver has been in and out because of soft tissue issues, hamstrings, things of that nature. Their running back has been in and out. When he's in, they look much better. When he's out, they look terrible. So they went in, and I appreciate that. I think, but teams like that have a good season, particularly with the rookie quarterback, and they come back, and then they come the next year. When they try to accelerate the process, this could happen, right? Yeah. Because look at Detroit. Detroit has been doing it the right way. They've been building up over time. They haven't rushed anything. They've added the pieces that they've needed, but most of their players have come through the draft. And they've been bad for so long, so there've been a lot of high-round draft picks. But that notwithstanding, you can draft a bad player high. All right, I live in Atlanta. I know. Okay, Vic Beasley. Okay, he was a number 1 pick for us, and he was terrible. So he had one good year, and imagine that it was a contract year. So all of a sudden you get 14 sacks. Never had double-digit sacks. Contract year, he gets 14 sacks. Boy, don't get me started on Vic Beasley. It was a wasted. I think he was in the XFL. Now he's out of the league. But you've got
how many games have the Raiders won?
The Raiders? Yeah. I think just 2. They won 2, and then they've lost 5.
What?
They lost 5 in a row. Because remember they beat the Ravens.
They beat the Ravens, yeah.
Yeah, and then they won another game. Maybe it was Carolina. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it was Carolina.
Yeah.
They won that one, and so. But why? Here's my thing. Why are you firing the OC? and his staff. You signed Gardner Minshew.
But it's not even Gardner Minshew. They just need a quarterback. I think Gardner is a decent back. He's a backup quarterback.
But you didn't have a starter.
He's a backup quarterback. They don't have one.
Right. They got the age, what's his name? Adrian or whatever.
I don't.
And then he just hurt his thumb. So now you got to put Minshew.
I think he's a good backup quarterback. Backup quarterback.
That quarterback room was terrible when the season started. They should not have had any expectation of them to miraculously get better. We've got tape on Gardner Minshew. He's serviceable. He gets you about 4 games.
Yeah, a couple games. He's not.
No, you can't play 17. He can't play even if you just say let's give him 3 injury games. He can't play a 14-game season. They're gonna figure it out.
I mean, the team they need a quarterback. I think if they had a quarterback, they might be halfway decent.
Here's my question. If you're Shedeur Sanders, do you go to Vegas if they draft you?
I think that might be. I mean, if they don't trade off their pieces, their defense is good. I like the coach.
The jury is still out on the coach. I think he's approaching coaching like he's still a player. Like, I don't like the fact that he calls his team out or calls players out in public. That's not going to endear you to anything, especially when you say your team quit or call them soft.
I don't have a problem with that. Calling individuals, calling your team soft, I have no problem with that.
I have no problem with it when it's closed behind closed doors. I'm gonna give it to you.
I ain't got no problem calling people out in public.
Nah, man, because now you're embarrassing them.
But if they soft, they soft. Football is not a soft game.
But
you should be offended. But you should, as a player, be offended that your coach calls you soft. You should go out and want to actually play. Because
who on that team makes you afraid?
What's his name? The defensive player makes me afraid with all those tattoos.
Okay, so the defensive end.
One defensive player. The defense. None of the offense. No. Well, Devontae, but I mean he's gone, and
Devontae's gone. Him. And they just gave up 42 yesterday. 44. Like, they got boat race yesterday. Like Cincinnati, and they were in the game early. And maybe that's why they fired the offensive, because it was close at one point. Going into halftime, and then they came out in the second half and didn't make enough.
Crosby, that's the play. I would be.
Max Crosby, yeah. He's the face of the Raiders because it definitely ain't the quarterback. It's Max Crosby, and that's it. So I don't know what the expectations were. Like, I understand everybody walks into each season with hope, but he looked around that.
He looked better last year, even though they beat the Chiefs. They looked better last year. It wasn't consistent, but they looked better last year.
They did look better last year, and then beating the Chiefs last year got them what?
Nothing, but I was happy. There was a good Christmas game. I was happy. I'm like,
I think beating the Chiefs last year twice. I think they beat them twice last year. Got them to thinking that they're better than what they really were, because they're not that good.
I never said they were, but I think if they had a quarterback, I think they would be average.
A quarterback, and I don't know who their running back is, because Josh Jacobs is in Green Bay, and the Green Bay running back is in Minnesota, so he didn't get that. Yeah. So I don't know who the Raiders running back is. So if you don't have a good running back, and if their offensive line is not good, which it doesn't look like it is, because again the quarterback's hurt. They just got the GM. They got to put together a better product.
Brock Bowers, no, that's exciting.
Brock Bowers is good.
Back, Zamir White.
Zamir. That's Zeus. He played at UGA. He's decent if the offensive line is good, and Brock Bowers is having a good season. So he's the only offensive weapon that they have, and Zamir is serviceable as a back. He'll get you about 50 to 75 yards a game. Every once in a while, he might bust one open. But Zamir, like, he had, I think he had one or two. I think he at least had one ACL tear in college. But in college he was supposed to be like he was like a 5-star recruit, came to UGA, and just kind of had an injury play type career, and that slowed him up and that dropped his draft status. But he's playing decent, for the Raiders. I don't know if he can make. He could be a second back on a good team, but now he's the first back on a bad team. That's sad to say. Quietly, here's the quiet teams that are winning that people aren't talking about as much.
Cardinals.
The Cardinals. I think they're 4-4 or 4-4, 4-5.
Actually, I think they're over. I thought they were over 50.
Yeah, that's right. They're leading the division, so they might be 5 and.
What was yesterday? I think they won so many in a row. Maybe.
Yeah, this might be their third win in a row because when they won last week, they said that was their first back-to-back wins in like some crazy amount of time, and then now they won a third in a row when they beat down Chicago.
Yeah.
So, what are they? 5-3?
Let me see. I'm trying to find the records. Here we go. Let's see what 5-4.
5-4, yeah. Okay, yeah. I knew they were close to 5.
I thought they were at least winning. Might not.
They're winning. They're leading the division, but you got to think about the division. San Francisco's had a lot of injuries, and so I don't think they're going to continue to lose. They've already been talking about McCaffrey is starting practice, so when he comes back, that is the key to Purdy playing better is having McCaffrey back there, and it opens up the offense. And then when he gets Debo back, because he's lost Ayuk for the year, but once he gets Debo and McCaffrey, I think, and with the tight end, they'll be fine. Defense is not as good as dominant as they were before, but if you have the offense that's playing better, that is going to put touchdowns on the board instead of field goals, they can hold up and be serviceable. I think right now the team to beat in the NFC is the Detroit. Lions, and that's by far they are the best team in the NFC, and they might be the best team in the league.
You think? Well, Kansas City, even though they don't look great, they were winning, and they probably will win.
That to me doesn't like. That doesn't mean doesn't make them because who did Detroit lose to?
The 2 losses.
I thought they got 2 losses. They lost 2.
They got one. And I'm trying to think who it was. Was it? It wasn't. They beat Minnesota.
Was it Minnesota? No, Tampa.
No, they beat Minnesota. It was like
Tampa.
7-1.
Remember Tampa?
It was Tampa. Before
Tampa beat them. Tampa beat them earlier in the season.
Unusual.
Yes.
But,
yeah.
Tampa has fallen. Well, not because they had a lot of injuries too.
But they've fallen off because of the injuries. Thank you. My Falcons. Thank you, Tampa, for falling off. But could have made it easier for us to win a division. New Orleans is a tire fire.
They just fired their coach
today. So the Falcons are in the catbird seat to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But like I told one of my friends earlier today, that defense is bad.
Yeah, and then who knows? It's still, half the season is over technically.
If we don't get another pass rusher before tomorrow's trade deadline, this defense is dead in the water because we cannot pressure the passer. Like they even said it today. The Cowboys are playing the Falcons have the worst pass rush in the league, 32, dead last. And we got 3. We hadn't had a sack in 3 weeks, and we got 3 yesterday. That's how bad the Cowboys are right now. And 2 of them are back-to-back plays. Everybody's like, hey, we don't know what. But that's how bad the Cowboys are. Okay. So let's just.
It's interesting. It's actually good when the Cowboys are good and then they just take a fall. It's actually more entertaining. But
I like full-time misery.
Hmm?
I like routine.
It is bad. It's like even my Cowboy friend was like, I can't even talk shit. I was just like, we suck. I was just like,
Look here, that's so bad. I almost feel bad by talking about them because how bad it is.
I really don't. But it was fun. On my way home, I actually sitting by a Cowboy fan on my last flight. And the flight attendant was a Giants fan. I thought it was all kind of funny. But she was like, we're having a bad game. I'm like, you're having a bad season. And she couldn't even say anything.
Yeah. Okay, so let's look at the standings. Okay, so Buffalo is leading the AFC East with the record.
They should win. No problem.
With the record of 7-2. So after watching Miami lose again yesterday to Buffalo, they're 2-6. New England is 2-7. The Jets are 3-6.
So none of them are going to make the playoffs.
There's nobody's going to challenge them.
But yeah, the Bills are going to win the division.
Bills are going to win.
No one else is going to make the playoffs.
Probably one of the more competitive AFC divisions is the
North.
North. Pittsburgh is at 6-2, top of the division. Baltimore is at 6-3. Cincinnati's at 4-5. And Cleveland is Cleveland at 2-7. So, and they got Jameis Winston start games. So
I mean, they might win a couple, but they're not going to make the playoffs.
Oh, I mean, they won that. They won that one. What was the last?
They beat the Ravens last week, which I was shocked.
That last one to play, and then Jameis came back down to earth and threw 3 interceptions yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I think they weren't ready for him. When a new quarterback starts, they usually do well at one time, and then after they look at a little tape, they're ready for him the next game.
Jameis Winston, we got the story of Jameis Winston. He had a good day.
He had a good, even though I was happy he had a good. I like Jameis.
Liking him.
I wouldn't want him to be my quarterback, but I like him. I like Jameis. I want him to do well. I feel bad that his career has gone the way it has. Because he's not a bad quarterback. He just throws too many interceptions. By
definition, that's a bad
overall compared to some of the other people. I think the NFL doesn't do a good job of developing quarterbacks in general. Most quarterbacks are ruined than actually,
They don't do a good job developing quarterbacks, but you can't keep making the same mistakes, And he had plenty of time. I think the referendum on Jameis Winston was when Tom Brady goes to the Bucs. That was the same team. He brought in a couple of pieces, but it was basically the same team, and they won the Super Bowl.
That's Tom Brady. I think Jameis was the best when he was with the Saints. And with Peyton and Drew Brees as the backup.
Because Peyton's not going for it.
Well, I think that was the best place for. I mean, I think he actually, I think he needs to be with even though Stefanski's a good coach, but he's better than Watson. How about that, though?
Oh yeah, I mean, but Watson's career is over. You're right. He's better than Watson.
But he is. And I mean, Jameis seemed like overall a good person. So,
I like him as a person. I
want him to do well. But backup quarterbacks do well. They make 10 times more than I do. So, I mean, I feel bad for him.
They're, okay. So, we know it's going to be Pittsburgh and Baltimore coming out of that division. Maybe Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh, they're about to hit the hardest part of their.
Well, yeah, because they haven't played any division games yet.
And so we're going to see how is Pittsburgh's for real. Still, juries. So they played 2 bad teams, the Jets and the Giants. What was it, Giants last week?
Yeah, Monday Night Football.
Yeah, so they played the Jets and the Giants. We're going to see the real Pittsburgh. Defense is good. We'll see if Russell can hold up against a stronger pass rush. Can he make those throws still? He's been making some really good throws.
Yes.
Can he make them against better teams? That's the question. AFC
He's on script and not go off. Sometimes Russell goes off script.
He can't anymore. He's not athletic enough to go off script. So.
But when he was in Denver, he went off. He went off script, which is why they didn't do too well.
Yeah, well, when he had before Peyton got there, he had a bad head coach because that dude is terrible.
Well, yeah.
And he was trying to ad lib, and the coach had called bad plays. It was just a bad thing. Payne got there. He was serviceable, but he doesn't. He's not a timing quarterback, and I think that's the problem. Like Peyton wants you to hit your 5-step drop, foot goes in the ground, release the ball. Russell likes to see it, which is what he's getting now, and he's getting serviceable quarterback play from a rookie. So we'll see. But I think
at the end of the season, well, I think the Ravens are going to actually win the division, but I think the Steelers are going to make the playoffs.
So Steelers will probably make the playoffs. They're at 6-2, 9 games left. We'll see how it goes. AFC South, Houston, despite all their troubles, is still 6-3.
Yeah, but because the rest of the division sucks.
Yes.
So they're going to make the playoffs.
In Indianapolis realized that Joe Flacco is still 39 years old.
Well, but Flacco is decent, but that's not their only problem with the Colts, in my opinion. But
it's not. But they had an opportunity to win that game yesterday, and they didn't. And I won't say it was all Flacco's fault, but there are some throws and there are some things he couldn't do. He couldn't get out of trouble because he can't run.
No, he can't. No, he can't.
There were some times where he could step up in the pocket and take off running, and I'm like, Richardson would have made a better play in that situation, but he was also making throws that I know Richardson couldn't make, like tight window throws, timing throws. Richardson can't make those. He just got a strong arm.
You think Richardson gonna get his job back by the end of the season?
By the end of the season, possibly, because once they get out of the playoff race, I would say put him back in because he's going to need live reps.
You need to develop. You need a lot.
Yeah.
And I think mentioning might have humbled him, so he won't be tapping out because he's tired and actually saying it in the press conference.
But you know what, though? This is where politics of football gets in the way. Shane Steichen trying to keep his job.
Oh yeah, I know that too.
So am I going to keep my job am I going to keep my job at the expense trying to let this kid develop and hope he develops, or am I going to go out and try to get me somebody?
Even if say Flacco does well, I still don't think they're going to make the playoffs. So what was his point other than teaching Richardson a lesson? What was his point in starting Flacco? I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, even if Flacco plays wonderful. I think they're too far.
I agree. I think they're too far out of it, but they're 4-5 in a bad division, so you never know. But they're going to have enough wins because Houston's going to win that division.
Yeah, because Houston, even though they are injured, they still are the best team in the division.
And then you've got the other good division, because you've got three of the 4 teams that are over 500, and that's the West. Of course, with KC at 7-0, the Chargers are now 5-3 with that beatdown of Cleveland yesterday. Denver is 5-4, so they're over 500, and Las Vegas, of course, is 2-7. So I think the Kansas City and the Chargers will definitely make the playoffs out of that division. And because the NFC North is so good, that Denver won't make it, even though they might have
I think it's going to be the Packers, the Detroit, and Minnesota.
We're in the AFC right now, though.
I'm at
yeah. So of the 7 teams, we're looking at KC, the Chargers, Houston, that's 3, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, that's 4 or 5, Buffalo 6, and then it's a toss up on the rest. So Denver might mess around and make it. Because of the mess that's left, they got the best record of the teams that's left. So Denver might back as a 7th seed into the playoffs, which would be amazing. Have 3 teams for the division. The NFC is a little bit more clear picture because there's a clear delineation. Washington and Philadelphia are top of the East, 7-2 and 6-2 respectively.
Yeah, but technically we've had the same number of. They play one more game than we have. But
Dallas is garbage, and New York Giants is hot garbage.
Yeah, so it'll be Washington and the Eagles that will make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think
unless something goes drastically, wrong at the end of the season, which could happen.
All right, next up you got the NFC North, which is
so it's just supposed to be
3 teams can make it from that division.
I think it will.
Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay.
Yeah, the Bears are out of it.
Jordan Love's got to start making mistakes. So I mean, Jordan Love is not playing.
And he's not healthy either. He's been out. What?
I get it, but he's making bad decisions, right? He's gotten the last 2 games. He's had really bad pick sixes.
He gets a little impulsive and thinks he can do things. He's like the young Brett Favre.
And he can get hot too. So what happened when he did it against the Rams? He gets hot. They come back. They win the game. When you play in the Lions, so you can't be playing the Rams in the playoffs.
Yeah,
you're gonna be playing teams like the Lions. If you try to get to the Super Bowl, you got to beat a team like the Lions. You ain't worried about beating the Rams. Rams are barely 500. You got to beat a team like the Lions, and you can't make those kind of mistakes.
But I think it's just him. He's like a young Brett Favre. Sometimes he's a little impulsive, but you take the good with the bad unless you can coach it out of him.
I like they need to coach that out of him because that's throw it. I mean, and I saw the player there when he threw it, but you see, he was in a sea of people. Throw it at his feet. Live to play another day. Those are the decisions. Don't panic. And those throws feel like panic throws. Let me just get out of my hand, and he throws it, and then you're like, hey. And I'm sure that if I was a defensive coach on these teams playing him, I'd say I need pressure on him because when he gets pressure, he panics, and then we've got opportunity. I would say that every single time. But and Chicago is back to earth,
Well, I never thought they were all that. They weren't playing. They were playing not great teams, and they simplified the offense. And their schedule like the Pittsburgh, the hardest part of their schedule is toward the end. Their division games.
Here's the issue: you've had 2 talented quarterbacks come into this team and look terrible.
It's the coaching. That whole Hail Mary fiasco. I mean,
Justin Fields is not as good as quarterback they have now. It's not as good as Caleb Williams. But Pittsburgh made him look a lot better.
They could have done the same thing they're doing with Caleb with Justin, in my opinion. Basically.
But when you have a bad coach, and so now even once they fire Eberflus as of this year, because I heard a stat today that said the Bears are 0-18 on the road the past 2 seasons. So they're not winning. And if you can't win on the road and you only win half your games at home.
Well, it's the coaching. And I mean, it's the coaching. They don't know that anyway, the Hail Mary was a prime example of bad coaching at its finest.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that they're a bad team. And I'm sorry.
I mean, I think if they had a good coach, they would be a better team.
He's a bad coach, and but he's
not. They have decent players.
Caleb's going to have to get.
They need an offensive line.
Caleb's going to have to get a whole reset.
They need to get him a line. You need a rookie quarterback needs a decent line.
Yes, but you need an offensive coach to do that. And they gave him a lot of weapons, but they didn't give him what he needs, which is a decent line, and it's hurting him.
Yeah, and he's gonna run his confidence. I mean, because when the Bears, I don't trust them.
So all right, so then you've got the NFC South. Atlanta's going to be the only team that comes out of that because of Tampa Bay's injuries. Tampa Bay actually had a pretty good team before
they did. They beat the brakes off of us.
Yeah, so they were decent, and then the injuries have set them back. We'll see how they play tonight. If they can muster something, but Kansas City is a much better defense. So, hey, what up? So yeah,
All right. Hey, Harry.
that's what's up. Um, and then the NFC West is being led by Arizona at 5-4. The Rams are 4-4. San Francisco's 4-4, and Seattle's 4-5. That is the most parity of any.
Yeah.
Of
And who
any.
will come out? But see, I don't know who would actually win a division.
When it's all said and done, I trust San Francisco the
You
most.
do. What if people don't come back healthy? That's the issue with San Francisco, or part of it.
Well, allegedly they're getting healthier. Like Christian
Allegedly.
McCaffrey is about to start practicing, and so um, he's a key. He is the key to their offense because if you look at their offensive numbers with him versus without him, it's night and day. So if he's back and
If he stays healthy,
if he stays healthy,
he's been
that's
out
all
for a long time, and they need to take it slow because they worried about his Achilles turning into. Achilles tendonitis turning into a tear, and then he'll be out until next season.
Yeah, Harry, we did see the Dolphins lose that game on that 61-yard field goal. I think the challenge from what I saw yesterday, Harry, was the Dolphins defense played relatively well. It was the busted plays that hurt y'all. And that's the Josh Allen effect. Because on his first reads, they were winning. I thought they ran the ball really, really well yesterday. The Dolphins did. That was surprising to see how well they ran the ball. I think Tua had a wonderful game. They put up 30-something points. When you score 30-something points in this league against a team that's leading the division, that's a game you're supposed to win. But the Josh Allen effect, that's why he's always ranked in the top 5 as quarterbacks.
Yes.
Those plays break down. You think you got him, and next thing you know, he flips something up, he breaks a run off, and you're like, fuck. Especially on third down. And those are the killers. Those are the backbreakers. Those are the games that make you pull your hair out and go, and Lamar does the same thing to teams. We know Mahomes does it to folks. He'll have a bad game. Yeah, he does have to slide. Well, you're talking about which one? Tua or both of them need to slide. Josh Allen and Tua need to slide.
Tua because it's a concussion.
I saw Tua dive head first, and I saw DeMar Hamlin standing right there, and he stopped because the last time when he was out,
that's when he had his last concussion. Yeah,
and he hit DeMar Hamlin, and DeMar stopped, and Tua dove, got the first down. But I was like, bruh, I understand it's a tight game, it's a division game. You're trying to get back into it. The game you should have won was last week. There's no shame.
The Cardinals. The Cardinals are
the Cardinals. That's the game you should.
Yeah. Or sneaky, but that was his first game back. But
it was, but and no shade on the Cardinals. No shade on them. But that's the game y'all should have won. So there wasn't a lot of pressure on this one because this is the division game against a leader, against a quarterback that is Kyler Murray on steroids. Big, strong, fast, strong, so it's like, and it just, so now what do you do? I mean, you guys stick with Tua because the backup quarterbacks are garbage. You got to hope that he stays healthy throughout the rest of the season. And you got to also hope that the team doesn't start thinking about vacation and start partying on South Beach because they're out of the race for the playoffs. Really, I mean, they talk about it in the NBA, and the same thing is true in the NFL. There is a South Beach effect that happens, right? You get down there warm, you see all the bodies and everything, and it can get you. But right now, they're not going to have home. Even if they made the playoffs, if they went on some miraculous run and made the playoffs, they would not have home field advantage.
And they need it.
And they don't play well.
They need that warm weather.
Yeah. Because you're 9-6. You're 2-6. The best you could do is 11-6. And the fact to run off 9 straight games would be, tough.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not going to make it. I think I know who's going to make the playoffs, but it depends on the seeding order. I don't know, but I think I know who's going to make the playoffs. Well, other than the West in the NFC.
Yes.
I don't know about San Francisco.
What? You don't know about San Francisco?
No, because they're not healthy, and even if McCarthy comes back, I don't know, how he's gonna be,
Okay,
and I don't
so
know if he's gonna stay healthy.
here's who I like in the NFC.
And Debo, the pneumonia and all, but and Ayuka's out for the season, so
I like the Rams. Because I just think Matthew Stafford is magical. But Cooper Cup has to stay healthy. They've got a good
Nakua
running
was
game.
out too. Nakua was out for. They looked good when both of them were back.
Right.
They were talking about trading people before that game.
And Puka got ejected yesterday early because he threw a punch. So they won that game basically on Matthew Stafford making plays and throwing to a tight end and running the ball. And Geno Smith helped them win by throwing 3 interceptions, 2 of them deep in the red zone. Like it was bad. Like one of them threw that 103-yard pick six. And then you threw another one where they were driving down. So between Matthew Stafford making enough plays in that game-winning drive and Geno Smith reverting back to his old ways of throwing picks, that's what got him. That's what got him the victory. So
it could be the Rams. San Francisco's not just automatic that they're going to win.
I think the jury is still out on Arizona. I have not seen them enough. I got to watch them more to see how, what do they have a calling card or is it just Kyler make plays? I've seen highlights. I haven't seen like an entire game. And it feels like it's Kyler make plays, right?
Yeah, and their defense is actually decent.
And their defense is decent, right? So it's like Kyler make plays, defense, serviceable running game, and then they got the rookie wide receiver that he's developed some chemistry with. So that's kind of shifted that wide receiver room. But I need to see him. I need to see that team. We know only one team's making it out of the South, and that's Atlanta.
Yeah, definitely.
Three teams are going to make it out of the door. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so one team's going to make it out of the West because 2 teams are going to make it out of the East.
Yeah, I think one team out of the West.
Yeah, Washington and Philadelphia are going to make it. 3 teams, Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay, so that's 5. Atlanta 6, and then whoever wins the West is 7. And the sad part about it is Atlanta and whoever wins the West is going to have to play one of those NFC North teams. So they're going to get congratulations. You get Minnesota or Green Bay to come to your place.
Yeah.
And that's that's not good for either one of those teams.
Well, unless it's some type of injury or something, but if they're at their best.
So, and then Washington will get the lower if they win the division.
It depends on the rest of the season.
Yeah, because
I think come back down to earth.
Detroit's on the path. The way Detroit's look right now, they're going to have the number 1 seed.
Yeah, the way they look right now.
Yeah, because Minnesota has come back down to earth. They could have lost yesterday against a bad Indianapolis team. So the way everything's looking right now, as of November 4th, Detroit will be the number 1 seed. Atlanta actually has a really easy schedule remaining. So they can mess around and be the number 2 seed.
What's your record?
We are 6-3 right now.
Okay.
So I'd have to look at the schedule, but from what I understand, we have one of the easiest
strength
schedule left. Because remember, we've got to play New Orleans again and Carolina again. So that could be 2 wins right there. So that so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that is. So I'm excited. This is we're midway through the season. We're right at midway. Some teams have played 9 games. Some teams have had their byes, or they've only played 8.
We have had our bye game. All right.
But it's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out. All right, in our last couple minutes, we're going to talk about homecoming. What were your highlights from FAMU homecoming?
What are my highlights? I mean, I love all of them. I love seeing people. I love the parties. I love, thinking back to college days. I always go to the step show. I don't know if I would say highlights. I enjoy all of homecoming, other than the lack of sleep. But it is what it is. And coming back home, trying to go to work on Monday. But
that was a hard part about it, because and when I put that post today, I felt like a zombie when I walked back home. I walked back in my house. I was in a daze. I was looking for another party to go to. I was already missing being able to see people, like we did. Homecoming is a special weekend every year, and it's always bittersweet, right? You get to see some folks, you get to have the energy, and it's almost like that same kind of carefree feeling
like
college, like you did when you were in college. Like you're just riding around and getting it, and then Sunday comes and you got to go home, right? And so, and I'm driving, so like I'm sure the airport is probably. It's crazy with you.
Because there's a whole bunch of stuff going on this weekend too. A lot of people in Atlanta for the game. I saw plenty of Cowboy. And then when I flew out of Panama City, people were in town for the Ironman, so a lot of people racing.
Okay.
So there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's a lot of layovers in Atlanta because of Tallahassee's airport. So yeah, it's just highlights. I think is the. Always Thursday night, because that sets the energy off for the
it's like the welcome party.
The welcome party, right? That's like Thursday night. The day party is always hitting, and this year it wasn't as crowded.
Not until late.
Not until late.
Yeah, and even Thursday night party wasn't as crowded until it was later than usual when it got crowded.
Yes, so I think, but the day party always sets it off. It's just fun, like it's just great energy, and then the game. The hard about game day is there's so much stuff going on now. More tailgate areas, more corporate vendor areas, more areas for spread out. The Bros have a huge tailgate at the house. I don't know if you saw any of those pictures out front of the house. It's like some students were walking from the tailgate by the game. They're like, "Oh, where's the Alpha?" Like it was up, and they were walking to the Alpha tailgate. How is it up there? I left there. I was late coming down to my tailgate with Soul Child's Vodka. I was late coming down to my tailgate because I was hanging out with the bros, and it was like, and it kept getting more and more energy, and the DJ was playing, and students
the tailgate. I mean, I love football, but at homecoming, I want to see people. I want us to win, but I want to see people more than football. I can watch football at home anytime. That's my little, How often do I get to hang out with, people? Once a year? Maybe Celebration Bowl, but this still different. It's not as home. Atlanta, if we have another game there,
Well, I haven't gone in a game in 2 years.
I usually go halftime.
And so, but next year, I promised myself I'm going to go into the game, but I got to get in that north end zone. I need one of them passes. Because that's where they have the adult beverage sales.
Well, see, I just want to see the 100, so I need to sit, and you need to see up so you can see the whole man. So,
Okay.
But I like to sit on the alumni side, not the student side, because that's where the sun is when it's hot.
Yes, when on the student side, yeah. So those are. It's just it's amazing. Like, I mean, I'm sure you saw it. Your Facebook timeline is flooded with pictures and videos and people that were there that I didn't even get a chance to see.
Oh, that's always funny to me.
They're taking pictures of places. I was like, what? Where are they at? How, So I'm like, I think most years I just kind of wing it. I think going forward, I'm going to be more
You kind of wing it in what way?
like I was telling somebody before when I was doing my do's and don'ts before homecoming. I had 4 things that I do every year:
Okay.
opening party, day party, convocation, homecoming, tailgate, and that tailgate includes we do a state of the chapter before the
Oh,
tailgate starts.
okay. Yeah. I think I've heard.
So technically 5, but we'll call it 4.5 because the state of the chapter runs right into the tailgate.
Yeah, we do a studio DST. It's probably similar to
Right.
on Saturday.
So those are the things that are on my list. So, but I can be doing other things, right? Like maybe on a Friday night, even if I don't go to any one of the party, but I didn't go to the step show this year, and I heard that was pretty good.
It was good. I mean, it was good. I thought you guys did well. Um, I think the alphas did better than the sigmas, but I think I'm biased just because I'm used to.
No. I did talk to some students, and
I was there. I'm just saying.
yeah, and
I
but that was
think,
the students that these were students that were there. You were there,
yeah.
but current students, and they were like the alphas won it, but the sigmas technically won it. But they were like they thought the alphas did better.
I think it did better.
So
I think I'm biased because I'm just used to the alphas winning, and I like beta nu. So, and I'm not used to sigmas winning other than they won last year. And they actually they did look good. Though. Both of y'all look good, but I thought the alphas did a little bit better.
that's what I'm hearing. Um, you know, I of course I'm biased. So I think winning the public opinion is the first step towards getting back to winning the actual show, right? Because then that public opinion is going to drive expectations and crowd response, right? So all of those things go into influence of the judges and maybe I've got a pretty good relationship with the guys off of Spring '94. I'll kind of give them some old school feedback and talk about, hey, here's some elements that you probably need to add to the show that's going to unconsciously bias the judges in our favor, right? And we when we went on that winning streak when we were in school, that was intentional, right? We ended that show.
When we were in school, no one was even close. I mean,
no,
they might have had a nice, decent show. Like, I love the Kappas. No offense, Harry. But they're not. They usually, they're not steppers. They do the cane and they do a little shimmy, and it's not like a real, in my opinion, like really like hard step.
Right. But what was interesting before, like, because I think John Brown did the count. Like we won like 24 or 25 shows over that time frame. And the reason and the thing is, before we changed the show format, it would be close, right? We would win by a couple of points. But then when we added that dance at the end, that our former striker Lewis Jones put together for us at the end,
I didn't know.
And the crowd response was like, it's going to be a landslide because you can't unhear the crowd responding.
Yeah.
As a judge,
you get points for that. Yes.
Yeah, and so it was like we would intensely bias the judge. So even if our steps weren't as clean or we looked tired, or whatever, the way that show ended was always biasing the judge. You're like, the crowd love them. If they don't win, who could beat that, right? Who could beat that? And so that would always, and so we would just go and win. And I was telling somebody the other day, I said, we would travel sometimes to the shows with the Deltas because they would, and we would come into a city and they'd be like, who's playing for second? Because they knew Beta Alpha Delta was going to win, Beta Nu Alpha was going to win, and the rest of y'all was playing for second place. Mm-hmm. Good luck. And that's back when the prizes weren't as big as they are now. Prize money back then was it's lunch money compared to what they're paying now. So but they don't travel as much as we did. We were going all over the place. They focus mainly on fan music extra, and that's pretty much it.
Travel down different places in Florida. I remember.
Yeah, I mean, we went to South Alabama. We went to Niceville. We went to a step show in Niceville. It wasn't even at a college. It was an alumni chapter throwing a step show in Niceville. We went to Niceville, won the show. Savannah State, all over the place. We went all over the place. It didn't matter. If you had a show and you had some money, we was coming. And we could drive there, we was coming. So, but yeah, homecoming, especially as we start getting older, it has that deeper meaning because you're like,
Yeah, because you don't really know when you may see people again. And life happens. Just
yeah.
in general, you cherish the moments, the relationship, the memories.
As a kid, my parents used to take both my parents went to South Carolina State, and as a kid, I would go to every homecoming with them because they always wanted to go. We going to homecoming, and that's how I got introduced to HBCU. So I always knew I wanted to go to HBCU. That felt comfortable to me.
Yeah.
Just going to that, but I was always curious as to see their energy and to see their interaction with their friends, and it's like it didn't make sense to me, even though my parents had us way younger than I had kids, right? So they were probably even young. They were young. They were in their 20s and 30s, with kids at homecoming. And so it was, I always thought that was interesting. And like now I'm on this side of it. I'm like, oh, I see why we went every year. I see why they were so happy and seemed so jovial. Now I see, oh, they're drinking all that liquor at the, at the tailgate, walking around. And so, yeah, it's interesting having that experience and seeing it now and then, taking my kids. So it's just a lot nostalgic moment.
It is, and I like interacting with younger people. Maybe it makes me feel young. The young sorors, just the young students and my friends' kids that are there. Give them a little something, taking them a lunch or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did that. I was able to bless somebody with a little change, not too serious, but you give a little change, tell them go get something to eat, and then that's always good. And I was able to interact. Couple of my line brothers got kids there, so they came by, and I was able to talk to them and you know think I'm the cool old man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Because it's fun. I mean, I was talking to one of those. I forget. They were celebrating their 5-year anniversary, and I was introduced. I was like, "I'm from Fall '93." He's like, "Oh, you look good." I'm like, "What's it supposed to mean?" We old. We old. Like we looking for age. I'm like, well, thank you, I guess.
I think that's something that they're processing because when you tell them when you were there, they always get that. And then somebody, I think it was Lewis Jones. I give a shout out to Lewis Jones. The couple that they celebrated on convocation that did they pledged in 1965. She did 1965. That's equal distance from 1965 to when we pledged in 90 to 94 range as the way the kids are now, right? That are pledging now, that 30-year gap. And that gave us some perspective. When they say 1965, I was like, ooh, that's old school. That's how these kids are looking at us, right?
Yes.
30 years. And they're like, oh, y'all are old school. And we're trying to interact with them like we on that same level.
Yes. But it's interesting because this was sorry last year. Actually, this is maybe she pledged in the 70s. But she come to homecoming. She passed away though, like between last year and this year. But she came to homecoming all the time. She was in Philly. She used to hang out with us. And I was one of the older people when I lived in Philly, the Beta Alpha. But she used to hang out with all the young people. Every time we had a little event, we used to go to dinner for Charter Day. And she used to hang out with us. But it made her like, she was a young, cool, older soror, But it's sad she passed away.
Yeah. And that's how I feel I'm going to be. Because like you, some older brothers don't interact with the younger guys. But I get there, I try to learn their name. I have a text message relationship with a couple of them, where they'll check in and, oh, Brother Dean, how you doing? Blah blah blah, and ask me for advice or whatnot. So because of that, it makes me feel younger, right? Because they're like, oh, we got a relationship, even though I'm literally 30
Yeah,
years.
you be their dad or whatever.
Yeah, old enough to be their dad. But it's like, okay, cool. It's old school. And that's part of the reason I keep coming back. I'm like, okay, I go there, I feel younger every year.
Yeah. Hey. And I like you like and I like interact like with my young isms. I'm like, I don't get to hang out with them just to get to know people, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely it's definitely a great feeling, and I'm hoping that you know we'll continue. I know my incoming freshman class is doing a big thing next year. It'll be our 35th uh, from that. So the group me already started blowing up. We're doing it big next year. Blah blah blah. Everybody. So we're gonna start meeting and all this other stuff. I'm like, all right, you know, what we need? You need T-shirt, all this other stuff. So it's that planning, I think. But one of the things I'm going to say, and we've been doing this because we do have a nice endowment that we're going to
Oh yeah.
give a check. That's got to be part of it. So whatever you're doing, whether it's a line reunion or whether it's your incoming class reunion,
Yeah.
a check's got to come with it to FAMU. And even, I ain't even gonna put an amount on it, but we should be donating, because you can't spend that kind of money, thousands of dollars for food and
Yeah. That and be a and be a member of the National Alumni Association, I believe, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I just, I feel bad, but I'm glad I did it. I just became a life member. I should have done it a long time ago, but my pen and plaques supposed to be coming in the next couple of weeks. But I just got my life membership, and I may or may not be able to join a local chapter just because I'm busy, or go to the meetings, but I'll pay my dues for a local chapter so I can be on the record. So those are the type of things, and we need to start teaching the young ones that we have a relationship with that you need to join the alumni association immediately, and don't wait until your mid 30s or late 30s to start saying, "Oh, I should join an alumni chapter," because the response I get back is, "Oh, they're always so old." Right?
But you need young people, the young energy.
I said they're old because you don't join.
They keep the organization alive and thriving.
And so if y'all come in, and then I could be a voice or an advocate to say, y'all need to listen to these young people. They're telling y'all how we should be doing things.
Yeah,
but if it's a room full of old people, we're gonna do old things.
Yeah, they don't want to change. They don't want to. I mean, I'm like, teach me something.
Yeah.
Teach me something. If there's a better way to do it, I remember when we were doing something with some kids. I think I was in med school, and my student taught me how to update my little PowerPoint. I was like, "Thank you, baby." I was like, "Teach me." You got to be open.
You never know. I'm always leaning on them with social media, things like that they could really, and we can reel them in because they'll try to, they can, but there should be some good balance. We give them some responsibility and recognize that joining the alumni association is should be part of what you do, right? Set aside that money.
Yeah, because that's on the way the organization is going to continue. FAMU is going to continue and be a legacy for other students.
Right, because that legacy, you'll learn that legacy of giving back. And when I talked to, even though I didn't go to med school, I talked to the med school students at Morehouse, and I said, you should make it a point to join the NMA, right? As soon as you graduated, like having that, joining it, and yes, going to the NMA conference. A lot of old doctors running around there, but you can learn, right? Learn through their experiences and learn what's going on, and then you can add to it and keep some younger, fresh legs, fresh eyes and ears in an NMA, and don't wait until later in your career to join it. And so, that's
and it's cheaper too. It's cheaper when you're it's cheaper membership when you're first out of.
Exactly, and then you've already worked it into your budget, so it's not like it's something new. Just carve that money off and make it what it is. So, but yeah, I'm full. My last thing about homecoming is I'm full, but I'm also greedy because I want more. But I'm very, very full.
What I find, which helps me when I go to like It's stuff in between, like celebration ball, and just keep in contact with people. You know, people busy, but every now and then, just reach out to say somebody you might not talk to all the time. Somebody like your line sister or somebody from fam that you ain't talked to in forever. And when I travel, which I do a lot, I always reach out to people I might not talk to, or like lunch, something, get together. So it keeps the the vibe going.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. And so one of the practices I do now is like, yes, you can make the obligatory, you get the birthday reminder. You can make the obligatory Facebook post, but I always do a text message as well to make it personal. And if it's somebody I'm really close with, I'll call them, right? Because there's levels of personal. Like, so just putting a happy birthday on Facebook, I love it because if you feel good, you get all these comments on your page and it's a good feeling. So keep doing that. If you're watching this, keep doing it. I appreciate you. But the text messages, the phone calls are more personal. And so do both, right? Make the post and then call them and say, hey, we just want to wish you a happy birthday. And make the random text message. Somebody cross your mind, don't just say, I was thinking about them the other day. Send a text message in the moment.
Or even call, like one of my friends who's a psychologist. She was saying, I mean, text is good, but every now and then actually call people and hold a conversation with them. Because it's totally just a different vibe. I mean, I know people busy and maybe not have time, but sure, try to call every now and then, make a phone call, not just a text.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree. So y'all, the Social House Vodka is still available. So I was going to put this on my page. This is a FAMU limited edition with the Fang Exchange. Social House Vodka. Fang Exchange is an NIL collective arm for Florida A&M athletics.
Okay.
We've got 10 athletes signed right now, 9 football players and 1 women's basketball player. Matter of fact, I met a softball player at homecoming, and she came by the booth specifically and was asking about NIL for her and for a softball player. And so she's texting me. I gave her my information. She's texting me, and I'm going to kind of give her the formula of what we're looking for to sign her and see what we can do. But we can't sign athletes unless we got money in the bank. And so Social House Vodka came to Florida A&M University, to the Fang Exchange, and brought this deal to us. So for every bottle that's sold, a portion of the proceeds goes towards NIL. The way it works is Fang Exchange, 95% of the monies raised by Fang Exchange goes directly to the athletes. 5% is for administrative costs to run the website, social media, legal stuff, but 95% goes directly to the athletes. So having a partnership with Social House Vodka is a great deal. And I guarantee you, and the people that were trying it, because we were giving out samples at we couldn't sell the bottles directly at the tailgate.
Oh, the tailgate. Okay. Okay.
We couldn't sell the bottles directly. But first of all, the bottle looks fantastic.
You have to share on your page. So I can share with my vodka drinking friends.
Yes. Even if you don't drink vodka, because I drink tequila, folks.
I don't drink liquor at all, really. So.
Yeah.
But I'll share with my people. My drinking. I have a lot of drinking people. So.
Yes. I'm gonna give you like the first 5 folks. Like it is my guarantee. And I'm a vodka drinker. I'm one of those rare Black folks that drink vodka over tequila. But I will say this, and the tequila drinkers that tried this, they were like, this is incredibly smooth. It tastes fantastic. They were drinking it on the rocks, no lime, no nothing.
Well, my friend loves tequila. FAMU graduate. Yeah.
So we are working on other deals, but this is the first one with the first HBCU to get this deal. And they told us after we dropped the press release last week that they got 14 calls from other HBCUs trying to get the same deal.
Okay.
So and they've got the deal with Florida State. They've got North Carolina, Wisconsin, 6. I think they have 6 or 7 PWIs, and we're the first HBCU. So we told them we about to show up and show out like FAMU does. And we had a good start this weekend. We were selling bottles on site, but then as the Wi-Fi, it was harder to get.
Oh yeah, on Saturday, yeah.
But people are buying cases. there's taking it back. We're doing fundraiser with if you're part of a National Alumni Association chapter, we could do a fundraiser with you. So where we can, your particular chapter can raise money by selling social house vodka bottles. If we sell a certain number of cases in the month of November, they're going to put an extra amount on top of it. And there's only been one other school that has met that requirement, is with the PWI. So if we could do it as an HBCU that has a much smaller alumni base and student body base, that would show them the power of HBCUs. They've already realized it.
You get with the DC chapter.
DC and Atlanta are going to be the two biggest, because Atlanta, I think, right now is the largest, and DC is just
outside of Florida. Yeah, DC.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna, and we already had somebody from South Florida approach me as well, and I gave them my information. So we're gonna be doing our thing. So I appreciate all the support. Like I said, the bottle looks fantastic. Even you won't be able to see it, but even on the inside of the label, it's got like a little rattler head on the inside.
We could use some of that for our holiday party.
Yes. So giving away as gifts for the holiday parties, give away to other rattlers that drink vodka, or just as in a general sense, or even if you don't drink, you have it in your house. It's a very nice decorative bottle there. So we're trying to raise that money, and that's what we're doing. We're going to have some other deals. Particularly, we've already had some people that they see that we can do alcohol deals. I had somebody approach me about doing a tequila deal and a bourbon deal, because those are things that brothers like to drink, bourbon and tequila. So if we can get those deals, this is based out of North Carolina. Just going to give out particulars. It's gluten free. So for those that have a problem with gluten, it's gluten free. It's artesian. It's been filtered multiple times, and it's a 40% alcohol by volume, which in alcohol terms, that's 80 proof. Very nice, smooth, great. That was the first thing, and I was telling anybody who would listen at the tailgate. The first thing I did when they were talking about this deal, I was like, I need a bottle. Because I'm a vodka drinker. I got to try it. I can sell bad product. And I tasted.
That's true. Yeah.
I tasted it, and I was like, yeah, this is gonna sell. Because people were like, I would actually drink this. I wouldn't just buy it because I'm supporting. I would actually drink this, and that's what you want to hear. And I told him that when I was on the conference call with him. I said, look, I'm actually drinking it. It's now become my vodka choice. I just bought 6. Okay. I got the email today that said,
you are a vodka drinker.
I am. I was a Kettle One. I was Kettle One guy. That was my go-to vodka. And now it's Social House. I'm not gonna be able to find it everywhere because they're working on distribution deals now. Hopefully, when this kicks in, when the distribution deals come up, I can tell y'all where to find it in stores. But like I said, I bought 6, so I won't ever run out. And it was the support, so it's like,
oh yeah, that's a great cause.
And the price point is not super high. One bottle is $30.
I guess I don't know how much bottles of vodka cost.
That's about the right price point.
I drink wine.
Yeah. So some vodkas are higher because of the name. Some vodkas are lower. But this is it's a $30.
It's not bad for how much is in there, but
Yeah, it's 750. This is a 750 milliliter bottle. I don't think they sell any other sizes as of yet. No, like can't get the half gallon or anything like that. But this is a 750 milliliter bottle, and like I said, it's decorative. So and it'll make a nice gift to a rattler that drinks vodka. So, thank you all. I'm about to go eat dinner and watch. Are you got the game pulled up? Do you know the score?
10-7, actually. Kansas City.
Okay.
Low scoring game.
Okay, sounds good. So, I'll be posting all on social media how you can buy the bottle and the vodka. What is this? I'm still getting. Oh Lord. Ooh. I'm not even gonna show that because ooh.
Why?
Because there's another idea, there's another deal I'm working on. Hopefully, I can get Nike or another shoe manufacturer, but I'm going to start with Nike because I think it's important. But I'm trying to get this deal with Nike. It's a campaign that I want to run at homecoming. So hopefully, I can convince them to if I can get a meeting with somebody and do a pitch at Nike. And so somebody just sent me a DM on Instagram that I was like, it just kind of reminded me of I got to get that deal done by next year because yeah. But yeah. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks. We'll have more clarification on the NFL season, and we'll be back. We'll talk about college football in 2 weeks. This time we were at homecoming. We weren't watching any other game.
Yeah, it'll be. I can't believe half the NFL season is basically over.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're some teams have already played 9 games. That's crazy. So it's interesting to see that the whole thing. So
we'll see.
All right, y'all. We'll see y'all 2 weeks. Go and get your bottle, social house. We got you.